Hey, it's your boy Mugzy Mcfly from Clout Control. You're now watching Stay on TV. Mugzy Mcfly. Mugzymcfly. I'm from the Bronx, New York, born and raised. I like to call myself a creative designer because I don't just design clothes. I do graphic design, I do signage, business cards. I actually mock for businesses. I do clothing. I create in all aspects. I kind of always was into fashion. A story my mother liked to tell me is that I was into clothes before I knew names. So just off of the label, like Pro-Keds is a real old brand, and I could recognize the brand before I could read. So I kind of always had fashion background. I used to make clothing for my crew, my friends, when I was younger. So that might have been like the first route, but I just wanted to make stuff to match my kicks and my gear. Well, I started back like in 2011, working with another brand, my friend's brand, and then I decided to venture off into my own about 2013. So I started out with Simon McFly phone cases actually, because I felt like phone cases is something that you'll see what everyone have, and it's instant space to promote out the gate. So I started with phone cases, and then I jumped to apparel, as in hoodies and shirts. Like the progress is amazing. Like to see it now, it's kind of surreal. To actually see someone wear my stuff that has no idea who I am, to this day still means the world to me. I feel like with me, I basically treat it like cooking. So I take a bunch of ingredients, creative ingredients. I take a bunch of stuff I like and put it all together, and then I kind of extract little components of things I like. Like if I like the way that font fits on a hoodie, that I like the cut of the other hoodie, but then my favorite color is orange, I'll mix that all together and come up with something. I feel like I just create off of my experience, my environment, things I see and I like, and I feel don't exist. I like loud, flamboyant, but then I like clean and calm, like a little edgy, a little different. I like orange. Hey guys, it's Mugzy Mcfly. Come check out Clout Control with me. So yeah, this is some of my girl stuff. Body suits, gotta keep the ladies right. My more sporty stuff. Sweats, moto pants. Stay warm in the winter. And I got my boy Farther Stretch My Bands here. Another one of the great brands from Mount Vernon. And of course, gotta keep your feet wearing right. All the time. Shout out to Easy. I got some colorful money. I'm the Bronx native. Local legend. Over here. So, of course, more of my stuff. A little graffiti action, moto. This is the piece worn by Young Thug. And of course, gotta keep the future invested, the kids. Then my little Don C flip, inspired by a couple of my favorite, most iconic teams. Go back over here. A little ode to my city, the West Side Highway, the best highway in the world to me. More dreams. Sorry, let's sleep. I want to get that open. And got a couple more designs over here, like my ATM jam. Money is the most popular language. And I get over here to my boy Sims, also from the Bronx. Save the Untamed. He had no mind. A couple of slides, Got a little bit into the footwear. Trying to get a little deeper. Get on Rihanna's level. And of course, it's my mural, hand painted by an artist friend of mine. It was her first time ever doing a mural. I told her just be herself, create your characters, and she plugged into Clout Control. Wow, Clout Control is my store. I actually never wanted a store, but after traveling so much and realizing small business owners, we are the face and the whole business, I felt like when you're away, when I'm away, the business comes to a halt. I wanted something that could stand on its own. Real wealth is when you can make money without coming out your bed. And with a store, I can achieve that. So I had a friend that works for the mall that that I got real close with. And when I was thinking about a retail space, I just hit her first, and they gave me the best deal, the most supportive, and broke rules for me. So here I am in the mall. We in White Plains now, but I'm a Bronx bred product, of course. I feel like the Bronx sometimes is the forgotten borough with a lot of things. Like, Brooklyn is heavy. Like, they keep together Queens. Even Staten Island got Wu-Tang, and no matter what, that's the first thing you think of. But when it comes to the Bronx, I mean, we do, but we have a lot of people in the Bronx, but it's not as, significant. Like, Harlem is not the whole borough, but they have significance. They have Dipset, they have Mason, they have a lot. They have ASAP, they have ASAP Mob, they have everything. I feel like with the Bronx, Fat Joe comes and goes. We got A Boogie and Cardi now, but I don't feel like they're so heavy. They're so concerned about being Bronx people. And even with fashion, it blows mine because Calvin Klein and Ralph Lauren are from the Bronx, and Ralph Lauren is legit like it. Like, he went to Clinton High School. Like, I really think about that. I'm like, people don't really even know that. And possibly the biggest fashion icon in our country is from. I could drive past his block any day of the week, and it just makes me think like, damn, I want someone to be for the Bronx. Like, I considered moving to LA at a time because that was a cool thing and there's a lot of assets there. But I'm like, you know what? Maybe my purpose is the Bronx needs me to build. My gamble was to have a storefront in the Bronx, but it just wouldn't have made the numbers right. It wouldn't, like, it's kind of like a thing where they say you leave home and come back a man. I feel like I left the Bronx, but not leave the Bronx, but I opened a store somewhere else. So I played the numbers, and I felt a standalone store is a little bit harder to, finesse traffic than in a mall. So I was like, if I go somewhere else, people back home could be inspired. Now when I come back with everything and the knowledge and the understanding of how to make things work is a whole different thing. So it's funny, I actually have a meeting in like 2 weeks to meet with a collective in the Bronx about building events and stuff like that. So that is the next step. But I want to make sure that the Bronx is somewhere, before I do it, I want the Bronx to be somewhere where you'd want to shop. Because everybody go to Brooklyn and Harlem and Manhattan to go get their clothes, and even Westchester. It's like, I want to be able to like, oh nah, the Bronx is it, and I want to have my fingerprints all over that. That's a loaded question. It feels horrible. It feels great. It's nauseating, suicidal. Then it's the greatest joy ever at the same time. I mean, it's constant emotional roller coaster. Well, the best parts is, one, you make your own schedule. The ceiling, there is no ceiling. There is no roof. I mean, it's limitless. You can be as great as you want to be. And I feel like when you're doing what you love, you never really work a day at all. So that, and on top of it, you can wear whatever you want to work. I just kind of reached a point where like I did what I love and I dreamed to do. But then the purpose part came in after the fact, where now with the store, it's not just my clothing, it's a bunch of other people, different designers, independent designers in the store as well. And I feel like when I was coming up, I didn't have the platform or someone that could see my vision and help me get to a higher place. But now I have the platform to do that for 16, 17 other brands. Then I have events here that serve as platform for artists and musicians and other entrepreneurs. And I feel like that's my purpose, just to be the shoulder to climb on. So when I think about who I'm picking to be in the store, one, it's product is first. It's like, let me see if you have the quality or the look or the taste level. Some people have the look, but they don't have the quality. I try and help them get to the quality to be in the store. Then it's also just the individual, because some people look and act like it, and then a week off it wears off. Someone has that drive. They might not have the knowledge or the resources yet, but they have the personality and the ambition to be there. So it's a mixture of both, because some people can be talented but lazy, and that's probably the worst thing ever. Role models. Well, I have a couple. All right, one of my first role models ever was Puff Daddy Diddy, and I feel like Diddy is the ultimate black businessman. You know, some people might look at him certain ways because of contracts and stuff or whatever, but he's a great businessman, and I feel like Diddy is the epitome of, might not be the most talented, but his branding and being timeless is amazing, and he makes people better around him, and he stays relevant at all times. He doesn't have to have an album out. He doesn't have to be doing much. He could just dance, and it's it. He covers so much ground. He's just a hardworking person. He doesn't sleep. He's a monster, business-wise. And then creatively, I'll say Kanye West because I always loved his music, and then from him to go from just a producer to maybe the best producer to a rapper to maybe the best rapper, then the clothing to maybe jumping over the Jumpman. I mean, who could really do better than that? And then lastly, I would probably say Ralph Lauren, because he's a designer who came from humble beginnings, and he's from the Bronx as well, and he just went from ties to possibly being the greatest American designer ever. And he covers a lot of ground. He inspires me because you could wear a white T-shirt from Ralph Lauren and feel great, and then you could wear a purple label that costs you a couple $1,000s, but the value still stands from the $20 T-shirt to $2,000 suit, and that's kind of unheard of with the price point. So I really like Ralph. I'd have to go with Tiana Taylor, and because I think her style is just so crazy. Like, she can do anything. She could pull off anything. She could pull off a skirt with sneakers, and then heels with shorts, and all type of colors. She could have a wig on one time. She could have a crop top shirt on next time. She could do anything. I have a lot of avenues I could go in. I don't really put myself in a box. Like, I test the waters with different things. Of course, hoodies, hats, t-shirts, sweats are the basis of the brand, but I also have done swimwear for girls and girl stuff, and I've done dress samples. I don't really think of a box. I'll make anything, I feel like, at the moment. So as long as I experience that and run into that, I'll go into it. The next venture I'm trying to do is footwear. I've done slides, but now I'm looking into sneakers. So I'm hopefully thinking spring, summer, I can actually drop that. So I will make anything that fits into my environment or the people around me. So clout control. I really wanted something that would resonate with people, using the word clout, but I looked deeper before I even thought to touch it. And clout is actually the influence you have, like the power and the influence you have. And I believe, ironic enough, black people and people from the urban culture and from the lower end, we actually do have the clout and the influence and the power to influence taste levels. We just don't get paid for it. So I feel like big brands and celebs come down here, scoop up our idea for 5 cents, come up here, shine it up, resell it to us for $200, and we don't really get no credit for it. So I'm actually trying to get the clout back in our control. So that's really what it is. Instead of having me go sell my stuff to a big brand and have them up the ante, pay me peanuts for it, and get rich off of my own people for it, why don't I cut that middleman and just do it direct? So we circulate the money all in, all out to us. I tell people all the time, fall out of love with money, but I do have a goal when I have the kind of money that I'm comfortable. I want to pay it forward, of course, because like I said, being like growing up, they tell you, oh, you could be a doctor, you could be a police officer, you could be a firefighter, and all this stuff. And it's funny. Someone said to me, they make you go to school to get these jobs that you can't get a job in your own neighborhood, so you got to work somewhere else. I'd rather it be that we go and learn a trade that could build up our own community. I want to have somewhere where a black musician could actually go a couple of blocks away from their house instead of traveling 2 hours on the train, and can learn something. They can learn how to make an official track. Or if someone wants to make clothes, they can learn to sew and learn to source fabric right there in their neighborhood. I want to have these places where it's more so the creative and you're not just a slave to the 9 to 5. So I want to have these places where you can learn. I don't know if it would be so much of a school, but programs and stuff like that, all right, not everybody learns, the square roots and all these things. You know, we need to learn taxes and how to survive in the real world. So that's how I want to be able to pay it forward, education-wise. 100 years from now, I want to be the Tupac of fashion. Like, I feel like he was so loud and honest with what he was saying. That's the only person I could think of that was like, he was loud and they respected it. Like, he wasn't shunned for it. Like, you know, Kanye kind of gets shunned for it, even though he does a lot that people don't know or pay attention to. But I just want to be that guy that's like, yo, he gave me the insight to a whole other side of life that I should be experiencing. And he inspired me to want to try at least. I come from, you know, real humble beginnings, and I don't ever want to go back to being that low again. And then also, I feel like there's people that write me all the time and tell me I inspire them from being at a show or speaking somewhere, or they see me and I just looked at the designs and told them what to do, what's next, and it works for them, or I made their logo or something. And I feel like we need superheroes that don't wear capes, superheroes you can actually touch and talk to, that, you know, you could call in a crisis, that could actually give you advice and read your DM and stuff like that. And I feel like that's needed from me. I feel like, you know, when there's a void in the world and good needs to be done, you do it. Well, I can't really say exact moment, but there's moments. Like, you know, I've had times where, you know, someone would write me on the internet and ask for something, maybe an item that's like $20, and they're like, y'all only got 17. And I'm like, all right, no problem. And I'm coming to drop it off. They're like, I get out of school at this time. And, you know, thinking, okay, it's a young person. I go, and the person is in like fourth, fifth grade. And I'm just like, whoa, this little kid is thirsty to wear something of mine, and he's gonna go to school the next day and be the man off of my stuff. He has no idea who I am. He thinks I'm just a delivery guy. He has no idea, and it makes me think. And then I have people, I've spoken in the school once, and the girl came on stage and she had a hoodie her mom bought her from mine, and she was crying tears to meet me, and I'm like, whoa, like, this is way bigger than I can see, you know. And then, like, when it came to Q&A, they had so much questions for me, and it just made me feel like, wow, like, I really need people to understand that representation is important in our community. Like, you got to be able to see these faces and be able to touch these people and talk to them, because you inspire a generation. I believe if you honestly chase something that you love, and you're going to become so good at it that you're going to get paid for it. I did clothes before. I used to sell clothes for someone for free till I learned. I loved it. And now I realized I loved it, and then I kept doing it till I was able to sustain on it. I haven't had a job in 10 years. Staying on. I think it's funny. I think of the Drake line when he says, I'm trying to stay on and get my fucking buffet on. And it's like, yo, once I get on this, I'm not stopping. I think it's just maintaining a consistent level of excellence. And it's like, some people come and go one-hit wonders, and, you know, it was just an experience. It was just a moment. Like, no, I want this to be something that's forever. Like, it starts and it doesn't stop. It only continues to get better. Like, social media is here to stay. It's not a moment. It's here to stay. It's a part of your life. It's going to be there. You're going to get used to it. An iPhone and these things are here to stay. That's staying on. So I am heavy, heavy, heavy with signs. Ironic, signed by McFly. I also look into signs. But I've had a couple. So I could probably give you three. I'll give you three ones that stick heavy with me. And the first one was my first year making clothes. It was summer 2013, and it was a strange time because a lot of people started brands. It was also the year of leather. So a lot of brands had leather goods and stuff where the price point was like 150 better. I wasn't into leather. I didn't like it, and I couldn't sew. And then the other people had t-shirts that was $20, $25. But I had all over print shirts that were $50 to $60. So I kind of was in the middle, and I was in uncharted territory. So people would look at me sideways for the stuff I was making, and it was rough. And I remember I actually maxed out a credit card for the first collection, and I was unsure about what I was going to do next. So I sat there and I'm like, I don't really believe in plan Bs. I believe that you should figure out and make plan A work no matter what. So I sat back and I asked, like, give me a sign that I should continue to do this. And maybe within 3 days, some guy in Atlanta ordered 6 of my shirts. And it just gave me the confirmation I needed to like, all right, I gotta continue this. And then I also, further down the line, I met a style. I hooked up with a stylist, and he was Future and Young Thug stylist, and I showed him a picture of something that one of my favorite pieces at the time, and he was like, "Dope, send it in this size for Future." I said, "All right, cool." Sent it to him. Couldn't find a dude at all. Blah blah blah. Then he finally writes me and he's like, "Yo, yeah, I got the piece, but Doug likes it." And I'm like, "Okay, cool. If he wants to wear it, then fine." And he's like, "All right," because when the celebs like something, they're more prone to wear it. So I sat there and I was like, "All right, cool." And then on New Year's Eve, was that 2018? He wore it, and that just it being Young Thug and how fashionable he is, that really confirmed to me that like, yo, I make stuff that can be dope at the highest level because I consider him an icon of our generation with fashion-wise. So those were the tail ends, the start and the finishing confirmations I got where I'm like, nah, I got it. I got this. Don't ever second guess it again. I feel like I got the formula and I know the lane I'm in. So now I just want to expand it and be as big as possible. I'm actually working on turning the store into a show and a web series. I won't get too deep into that. So I want to be able to, now the platform, all the other little platforms I have will be on another level, and the clothing and me and everything. And once I get that space, I have a lot of plans. So it's just the expansion of the store, the eyes, get into footwear, and just keep improving on my design.
That moment I trip, I want your loving, all your loving seems to come with a price. Now I paid you my favorite, hope you stay in the night. Still deciding if you ride, know you still on the price.